Your commercial building looks fine from the parking lot, but somewhere on that roof, in that HVAC unit, behind that facade, there's a vulnerability that's going to turn a routine storm into a six-figure claim dispute, and you won't find out about it until the storm's already hit. That's the problem with waiting for damage to tell you where your property is weak. Today, let's talk about why commercial property owners in Texas need a risk assessment. Before the next hailstorm, not after. First question, what's a risk assessment actually looking for? It's a systematic review of your commercial property's vulnerabilities, like roof condition, drainage, structural weak points, all the same things an insurance adjuster will scrutinize after a loss, except you're finding them on your terms instead of theirs. Second question, why does a risk assessment matter more for commercial property than residential? Because commercial roof damage claims involve more money, more square footage, and more room for an insurer to argue about scope. When hail hits a commercial roof, the difference between a full replacement and a spot repair offer often comes down to documentation you either had ready or didn't. Third question, what actually goes wrong when property owners skip documenting risk assessments? The claims process becomes a maze. An insurance company's adjuster inspects your storm-damaged roof, and instead of a straightforward payout, you're met with a denial or a lowball number, often justified with vague language about pre-existing conditions or maintenance issues nobody flagged before the storm. Fourth question, how does a risk assessment change the outcome when you do file a claim? It gives you your own baseline. If you already know and documented your roof's condition before the storm, an insurer can't quietly redefine storm damage as wear and tear after the fact, because you have proof of what changed and when. This is where the insurer playbook shows up every time. Delay, deny, or undervalue. They delay the inspection until damage is harder to distinguish from pre-existing conditions. They deny by attributing storm damage to maintenance issues you can't easily disprove without your own records. And they undervalue by scoping a full roof loss as a handful of isolated repairs. Texas commercial property owners face this after every major hailstorm and hurricane season, and insurers count on the fact that most property owners don't have pre-storm documentation to push back with. At StormLex Law Group, Flores, Manuel Pelaez-Prada, and Jake Rogiers work with commercial property owners across Dallas, San Antonio, Austin, and all of Texas and Oklahoma to decode complex policies and negotiate claims that insurers would rather minimize than pay in full. If you own commercial property in Texas, don't wait for a denied or undervalued claim to find out where your building was vulnerable. Reach out to StormLex Law Group today, and let's talk about protecting your investment before the next storm and fighting for it if your claim's already been shortchanged.
StormLex Law Group, because you paid for coverage, not excuses.